A Merry Holiday. A Short Yule Story by Daniel Nilsen Bjørneraas. Narrated by Marius Nordeng Mellem. Santa, Krampus, Elderberry and the Helper Gnomes, voiced by Ørjan Veisatune Svingen. Chapter 1. Jollyville. Nestled in a valley, embraced by snow-capped mountains, a hardy village sat. Its name, not ancient by any means. Gracefully it adapted with the changing seasons and the spirit of its inhabitants. The air was ripe with the essence of the holiday, and amidst this Yuletide scenery, 4 youngsters, William, Lily, Nathalie, and Sam, gathered outside their homes. Their breaths misting in the cold air, ready for a holiday adventure. William, ever the dreamer, with eyes that seemed to dance with thoughts of the unknown. Lily, whose laughter rang like a melody, echoing the joy of the season. Nathalie, the voice of reason, yet with a spark of curiosity in her gaze. And Sam, whose humor was as infectious as his enthusiasm for the absurd. Their bicycles stood ready beside them, decked out in an array of tinsel, garlands and bells that jingled softly, a reflection of their spirited anticipation. "I'm just saying, if we come across a talking snowman today, I'm biking straight back home," Sam said, breaking the morning's stillness. His comment drew a round of chuckles from the group, lightening the brisk morning air. Nathalie rolled her eyes playfully. "Let's just stick to the market and avoid any peculiar encounters," she said, though her words carried an undercurrent of intrigue, hinting at forgotten adventures from seasons past. William, with a glint of mischief in his eyes, added, "Who knows? Maybe Renfri has a mystery waiting for us. Wouldn't that be something?" They grabbed their bikes and pedaled down the frost-kissed road. The landscape around them was a canvas of winter charm, despite the absence of snow yet to grace their village. Their ride was filled with light-hearted banter and laughter, echoing the jolly spirit of the season. They mused over the absurdities of holiday folklore. Flying reindeer, mischievous elves, and the idea of a secret society of gingerbread men plotting world domination. It was this blend of humor and warmth that made their friendship special. Amidst their laughter and the jingling of the bike bells, a solitary snowflake began its descent, landing gently upon Jollyville. This harbinger of winter heralded the magical Christmas that awaited them. Yet, in the shadow of their merriment, something stirred. A whisper of an old tale, a flicker of a long-forgotten jest, watching over them with a playful hidden gaze. And so, their adventure, woven with threads of the familiar and the unknown, was about to unfold, under the subtle watch of an enigmatic presence from yesteryears. Chapter 2. Mrs. Renfri's Shop of Merry Delights. As they approached Jollyville's vibrant center, the festive ambience of the Christmas market enveloped them in a tapestry of twinkling lights, merry melodies, and enticing aromas of seasonal treats. The grand Christmas tree, a symbol of holiday spirit, sparkled like a starlit sky. The scents of mulled wine, roasted chestnut, and gingerbread wafted through the air. Lily's eyes glistened with unshed tears, a mix of joy and nostalgia, as she exclaimed, "I simply love the holidays, it's so magical." "Careful, you might burst with joy," Nathalie mumbled. They meandered through the cobblestone streets, soon arriving at Renfri's Shop of Merry Delights. The group entered the shop, greeted by a joyful tinkle of a bell. The warm glow of the shop, coupled with the soft jingle of holiday music, created an atmosphere that was both enchanting and mysterious. It was a labyrinth of holiday wonders, filled with handcrafted ornaments, rows of sparkling lights, and mysterious artifacts that seemed to hold untold secrets. It appeared vast, contradicting its modest exterior. As if guided by an unseen force, each friend felt an inexplicable pull towards a particular item, their curiosity mingling with a sense of destiny. Nathalie's hand brushed against a snow globe, inside which a miniature village lay serene under a magical, perpetual snowfall. She tucked it into her pocket, feeling an unexplainable connection to it. William found himself captivated by an antique clock, its hands moving backward. He picked it up, intrigued by its peculiar behavior, and slipped it into his bag. Lily, her eyes catching the glint of something special, intricately painted nutcrackers. Feeling a sense of protection emanating from them. Sam, raising an eyebrow at a set of candles labeled with the scent of winter's first snow, couldn't help but pocket them. His skepticism mingled with curiosity. "How do you bottle a snowflake's scent?" he mused aloud. "With peppermint and vanilla," a familiar voice answered. The group turned so quickly their necks hurt. It was George the Human? "Friends," he smiled and greeted them. He wore casual attire with comfortable trousers. "Why are you here, Mr. Ghost?" Lily asked. "He's not a ghost anymore, Lily," Nathalie clarified. "It's all right. I'm just glad to see you lot once more." And so is he. Clad in a carpenter's apron and a face dusted with darkened chalk, Codsworth stood behind them and smiled ear to ear. "Friends," he voiced. They met their friends with profound joy, though soon revealed faces of question. "What are you doing here?" Sam asked the two. George and Codsworth shared looks before giving an answer. "We figured, after what you did for us back in the mansion, we needed to establish a life somewhere," George said. "And what a better place to do so than in the very place we first met." "What manner?" William asked. And right he was asking this question, for they did not recall adventures long past, though they knew George and Codsworth. An act of kindness by whomever pulled their strings in a story that spanned beyond their comprehension. After their warm reunion, the group's attention shifted. They found themselves instinctively moving towards the shop's main desk. Not certain what happened, nor did they question it further. Having observed the counter, they yelled in unison, "Mr. Renfri!" From behind the counter, riddled with holiday candies, toys and much more, merry Mrs. Renfri popped up, with her rosy cheeks, twinkling eyes and reindeer horns adorning her head. "Mrs. Renfri?" they mumbled. "Oh, my favorite little munchkins." She moved from behind the counter to greet them with a hearty hug. "Come here, you." "But where is—" William began to ask, though Mrs. Renfri abruptly halted his question. "He's out traveling, young sir. Mr. Renfri has important business to attend." Her English accent was predominantly stronger all of a sudden. "Oh," they mumbled in response. "But fear not, for I have just the thing that will cheer you right up." The youngsters lit up like Christmas candles. From behind the counter, Mrs. Renfri revealed a peculiar item. Tucked in a dusty shelf was an old ornate advent calendar. Its doors closed, but each marked with a mysterious symbol. With a knowing smile, Mrs. Renfri leaned forward and whispered, "The advent of mysteries." As she noticed their intrigued glances, "A very unique piece. Each door opens a tale of the Yuletide from different parts of the world. Some merry, some, well, a bit mischievous." The friends exchanged intrigued glances, the air thick with the promise of untold stories. The door chimed again, and in came Morgana. Her presence as lively as ever, festooned with tinsel and holly. What struck the youngsters at first was the fact that the entry to the shop was right behind them. They had walked through a maze to get here after all, as if they ventured through a realm beyond that of the shop. Their focus returned to Morgana, her attire festooned with tinsel and holly. She brought a sense of Christmas with her very presence, as each of them could hear merry sounds arrive with her. It was truly far from how we once knew her. She spoke with clear intent. "You're looking at the advent of mysteries. Legend says it was once owned by Santa Claus himself." "The Santa?" Nathalie frowned. "Yes," Morgana continued, firmly confident in what she just said. "Actually, it's what Santa uses to travel across the world so quickly, which makes this a pickle. He should have it back. The group shared confused looks. Morgana, ever drawn to the unusual, paused near the counter and confidently picked up a shimmering crystal pendant. Feeling its energy resonate with her own, it seemed to pulse with an inner warmth. Mrs. Renfri was rather confused by the notion. By all means, have at thee, Sam pitched in. If it was Santa, then how come Mrs. Renfri has it? Well, he must have lost it, of course, Morgana said. This is silly, even for Morgana, Nathalie voiced. Mrs. Renfri intervened. I believe you should have it, she said, and handed the calendar over to Nathalie, who in turn displayed the most worried of looks. Me? Why me? Yes, why her? Morgana asked. Mrs. Renfri continued. Sometimes it's those who believe the least who have the most to show. Nathalie was quite unsure of what to make of this, though she and the rest quickly shifted their focus to outside the shop, as Nathalie took hold of the mysterious calendar. Is that bells? William asked. Indeed it was. Outside the shop, the sound of bells, reindeer and a rather holiday-fitting tune struck the area. It can't be, Lily yelled, as she and Morgana ran outside. You should be on your way, little ones, Mrs. Renfri said, clearly signaling that they should leave and have a look for themselves. The group ran out and was awed by what they saw. The entire town slowly gathered to witness the merry event that was unfolding at the heart of Jollyville. Above the Christmas tree that adorned the street center, a cart dragged by reindeer slowly descended. In the seat of this cart sat a large man in red with white detailings of wool. He had a long white beard and a red hat, with a white dot of wool adorning it. The air was filled with his strong voice as he sang out a line well known to, well, mostly everyone. Oh, ho, 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 ho. His voice resonated throughout town and touched the hearts of the people, filling everyone with a certain warmth and comfort. The crowd around the Christmas tree erupted in cheers and gasps of wonder as Santa Claus, the embodiment of the holiday spirit, landed his sleigh in the center of the town. Children and adults alike watched in awe as the jolly figure disembarked, his boot crunching in the fresh snow. Santa, with a hearty laugh that seemed to echo through the streets, waved at the gathered townsfolk.
Merry Christmas, Jollyville,
he boomed.
It seems I've made an early stop this year.
William, Lily, Nathalie, Sam, and Morgana pushed through the crowd, their eyes wide with disbelief. Is this really happening? Lily whispered, her voice barely audible over the excited murmurs of the crowd. Nathalie, holding the advent of mysteries tightly, felt a strange connection to the events unfolding. There's something going on here, she said, more to herself than to the others. Santa's eyes twinkled as he spotted a group of friends.
Ah, there you are. I've been looking for my advent of mysteries,
he exclaimed, his gaze falling on the calendar in Nathalie's hands.
It's a very special item, you know. It holds the magic of Christmas within its doors.
The crowd's cheers turned to gasps as a dramatic shift overtook the festive scene. Just as Santa Claus stepped out of his sleigh, a shadow loomed overhead. With a swift, startling movement, a figure descended from the sky. It was Krampus, the notorious counterpart of Santa. Krampus, with his daunting horns and wild dark fur, landed with a thud next to Santa. Before anyone could react, Krampus let out a thunderous roar and swiftly ensnared Santa with a chain, dragging him back into the sky, tearing a piece of the calendar. The crowd stood in stunned silence, their holiday cheer replaced by a mixture of fear and disbelief. The group stared up at the sky, where Santa and Krampus had disappeared. The jovial atmosphere of Jollyville had been shattered in an instant, replaced by a sense of urgency and danger. What just happened? Nathalie asked with hastened breath. Lily mumbled, her words lost in the moment. Did that thing just take Santa? William asked. Sam followed. This is crazy. Morgana pitched in. We must save him. Everyone glanced at her with fear in their eyes. Save him? Nathalie said. How do you suggest we save Santa from that? Lily nodded, her usual cheer replaced by a look of determination. That thing has taken Santa. We can't let this ruin Christmas. It doesn't really matter. We don't even know where they went, Sam said. It was at that very moment Lily noticed a torn piece of the calendar laying neatly on the ground. What about this? Is that? William asked. Can we use this to follow Santa? Lily continued. I guess we have to try, Sam said. Try? Are you guys serious? It's a torn piece of paper. What? Nathalie was frozen by the events unfolding in front of her. Morgana, ever the wild card, opened a door in the calendar and beheld pure light that struck out from it. Energy flowed out and enveloped them, absorbing their bodies into itself, and in a flick, they were all gone. Chapter 3: The Little Helpers. The group emerged from the calendar, cascading into an unfamiliar realm and landing with a thud. Dazed and bewildered, they sprawled on the ground, surrounded by sights unseen before. Rising unsteadily, they looked around, their eyes wide with astonishment, at the vibrant, bustling village before them. Everything was unusually small, as if they had stepped into a miniature world. The buildings were quaint and colorful, crafted with exquisite detail, and the streets were alive with tiny inhabitants, no taller than a foot. Before they could gather their thoughts, a group of them approached, their faces a mix of curiosity and concern.
Humans in our midst!
Exclaimed one gnome, its eyes filled with curiosity and voice high-pitched. They wore multicolored garments with cheerful faces and tiny pointed hats. Stay away! Nathalie yelled, frightened. Calm yourselves, these are Helper Gnomes, Morgana calmly put as she knelt down beside them. Scouring her pockets, Morgana produced a vibrant, swirled lollipop treat.
Sugars!
They yelled and cried as a throng of them gathered around her. What in the world? Sam uttered. They love candy, it's a well-known fact, Morgana said with a playful smirk as she handed out treats. The Helper Gnomes, delighted by the unexpected treats, quickly warmed up to the group. Another approached them, distinguished from the other gnomes by his long, purple beard. He wore a bright purple cap and ornate festive garments.
I am Elderberry, chief of the Helper Gnomes,
he announced with a dignified air, commanding the attention of all around him.
Welcome to our village, hidden away from the eyes of the larger world. What brings you to our tiny haven?
Nathalie, still holding a piece of the torn calendar, spoke with dire intent. He was taken by a beast of sorts, Morgana pitched in, with her strange knowledge of lore. It was Krampus. At the mention of Krampus, a wave of distress swept through the helpers, with some collapsing in sheer terror, others crying out in fear, some even fainted.
It can't be! Is it true? Is it true? That must be!
Speak not his name!
Elderberry cried out. Morgana was dumbstruck by this, gasping but a hint of words that found no voice. After a brief moment of respite, Elderberry nodded gravely.
My apologies, we dare not speak of you-know-who in this village. But fear not, for we Helper Gnomes have knowledge of many secrets and pathways in this world, some that even Santa himself does not tread.
He beckoned them to follow him to a building that seemed to serve as a meeting hall. Inside the walls were adorned with maps of the world, charts of the stars, and various magical instruments.
The path to finding Santa is perilous,
Elderberry began.
You know who is known to take his captives to the frozen peaks, a place of ancient magic and dangers untold.
William looked determined. Then that's where we're going. Elderberry took hold of the calendar piece with Nathalie held in her hand. What? That's mine! She yelled. Elderberry spoke not, he simply held the mended piece of calendar, weaved his hand across it, and words suddenly began to display. Glowing softly in the dim light of the room, it revealed a verse. The group leaned in, their faces a mix of anticipation and apprehension. Elderberry's voice took on a reverent tone as he began.
This verse is an incantation of old, steeped in ancient wisdom and magic, a guiding spell that reveals the path to the frozen peaks, the realm of you-know-who. It is not just words, it is a key to a portal, a gateway between realms.
The group exchanged bewildered glances. Nathalie looked up at Elderberry. You mean we just say these words and it takes us to you-know-who? Elderberry nodded.
Yes, but it is not so simple. This spell requires unity of purpose and heart. You must stand together and recite the verse in unison. Only then will the path reveal itself.
Sam furrowed his brow. And what happens when we get there? How do we even begin to face Krampus? The helpers cried out in fear and agony once more.
It can't be! Is it true? That mustn't be!
Some of the helpers fainted again. Elderberry shook his head in dismay, though his gaze was unwavering.
It's a journey of courage and wit. You know who is cunning and powerful, but remember, you carry the light of hope and the strength of friendship. These are your shields against the darkness.
Lily, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. We stand united, for Santa, for Christmas, and for all that is good. Her voice echoed the group's collective resolve. Elderberry smiled gently.
When you are ready, stand together outside under the open sky. Hold the calendar piece and speak the verse as one. The journey ahead is perilous, but I believe in your bravery.
The group stepped outside, the chilly air biting at their cheeks. They huddled together against the biting cold, the calendar piece held aloft as a beacon, their hearts beating in unison as they prepared to recite the verse, their voices mingling and rising into the night. Where shadows loom and time stands still, in the heart of winter's chill, seek the lair where silence reigns to find what Christmas truly gains. As they spoke the final words, the air around them shimmered, and a whirlwind of snow and light enveloped them. The ground seemed to fall away, and for a moment they were suspended in a void of swirling colors and sounds. In an instant, as the dazzling light faded, they found themselves standing on the edge of a vast expanse, a pristine snow-covered landscape stretching before them, filling them with awe and a sense of grandeur. Chapter 4. A Frozen Home. In the shadow of the towering peaks, shrouded in swirling mist, the group faced the unknown with a mix of determination and apprehension. I guess there's no turning back now, Sam said. I guess so, William said ever so gently, stricken with the fear of the unknown. Let's keep moving, the cold is unbearable, Nathalie commanded, and so they did. Deep within the frozen wilderness, an unexpected soft glow emanated from Nathalie's pocket, revealing the snow globe coming to life. What the? She yelled. The miniature village inside was no longer still. Tiny figures moved, mirroring their own journey. Is that us? Lily questioned. Nathalie observed the globe closer and realized it was them, though smaller. I think it's trying to guide our path, Lily continued. Guided by the globe's mysterious luminescence, they navigated the treacherous terrain, an invisible path unraveling before them, marked only by the subtle guidance of the glowing artifact. What the? William said, as he reached for the antique clock he took earlier. He brought it forth, and noticed that the clock's hands were moving backward. It seemed to be counting down to something. I think your clock is broken, Nathalie said. I don't know how I know, but I think it's warning us, he said, with a low-pitched voice. Warning us? Against what? Sam asked. William perceived it as an intuitive alarm, alerting them to looming peril. I think it's trying to tell us when you-know-who is close, he confidently put. You can say Krampus. The little helpers aren't around anymore, Nathalie said, though faintly hearing cries of agony in the distance as she did. was the little helpers, reacting to her words once more. Nathalie mumbled to herself. I guess not. How will this aid us in defeating you-know-who? Sam asked. Believe in yourself, Samwise, and you can overcome any danger, Morgana responded, eerily familiar to a certain wizard. The group embarked on their journey, more confident than ever. They traversed across the frozen landscape for hours, afraid that the time would be against them. As they began to lose hope, Nathalie halted. Wait! She yelled. The globe pulsed towards a nearby direction. We are close. You think? Sam said, whilst looking at a nearby cavern, its entrance marked by ancient ruins. The snow globe's light pointed directly to it. William shivered. I really don't want to go in there. We have to save Santa, Lily commanded, breaking every bond of shackles that once kept her from reaching her true potential. The brave little hero. She waddled into the cavern alone. Morgana quickly followed. Nathalie shook her head in dismay. If Lily does this without me, I'll never hear the end of it, and followed them into the darkness. William and Sam shared looks before the latter spoke. Now we have to go in there, Sam carefully responded. I will probably regret this, but you are right. We have to be brave, William said. They both followed and disappeared into the dark, cold space of the caverns. True darkness enveloped them. Not even a hint of light reached the home of Krampus. Guys! Sam yelled. We are over here! Lily yelled back. Where? William also yelled. No matter how much they yelled, they couldn't find each other. Wait! Morgana said, as she noticed her pendant awakening. It began to glow, like a miniature sun, dissipating the darkness around them. Stay close to me, she said as the group hurried around her. They soon reached a dimly lit chamber. In the center, bound in the chains of ice, was Santa, his usual jolly demeanor overshadowed by weariness. Without hesitation, they sprang into action.
You came to save me,
Santa said, with a weakened voice. He was rather surprised that someone dedicated such effort for him, when it was he who always helped others. It was a welcoming change which brought a tear down his cheek. Though the dangers were far from over, as William felt a needle strike his spine. It was a clear warning, and he felt an urge to check his artifact. As he reached for the clock, its countdown reached its end. Guys, he said, filled to the brim with fear. A fright filled the room as a presence loomed nearby. Krampus was approaching. Santa gazed into the darkness in which the beast was born.
This is not your fight, little ones. Run!
The group gazed with fright into the dark opening. From it, the beast suddenly emerged, with its dark fur and sharp teeth. Its blood-red eyes struck a fear that reached down the very souls of them. Lily paused, as the nutcrackers she brought with her, once quaint decorations, now vibrated with a life of their own. They marched towards Krampus in a defensive maneuver. Sam's candles, which he had initially scoffed at, now filled the air with a scent that invigorated them, warding off the numbing cold and keeping their spirits lifted. This is our chance, let's take it, Lily yelled and joined the effort with her artifact. Krampus, realizing the intrusion, turned with a snarl.
You dare challenge me in my domain,
he bellowed. The group stood united, resolved unshaken. We're here to save Christmas, Sam declared, his voice echoing in the cavern. A fierce battle erupted in the cavern's hearth. Krampus, embodying dark magic, clashed with the protective aura from Sam's candles and the radiant light from Morgana's crystal. The antique clock slowed time, disorienting Krampus, while the snow globe conjured illusions, and the nutcrackers provided valiant defense. Despite their heroic efforts and the power of the artifacts, the group was overwhelmed, knocked to the ground by Krampus's fury. Santa looked at the group with sadness filling his whole being.
I am so sorry, little ones. This was never your fight.
Nathalie, summoning her remaining strength, countered. It is everyone's battle. Christmas represents family, kindness, and love. We cannot let darkness prevail. Her speech echoed into the universe itself, ringing true courage within the souls of the group. Santa was stricken with such joy and love that he felt a power, once lost to time, begin to grow within him. She's right. This beast, even if it takes us, will never take Christmas. For Christmas is within us all and can never be snuffed out. Lily cried out. Morgana, William and Sam cried and yelled at the beast as well, shunning it. William spoke. You are far from powerful, lost and empty. No love resides within you. The beast gnarled in anger, almost growing in response to the hate towards it. Santa continued to observe the bravery of the group as he felt the power within him grow ever more. We aren't afraid of you. You're a hoax, a mere nightmare to be awoken from, Sam yelled. Morgana chimed in as well. You were never strong. Even the most lonely soul possesses more power and love than you ever will. As the words left her lips, Santa cried out in a powerful roar. He tore his bonds of ice with ease and burst out of his prison.
My true power returns to me.
He stood there, vibrating with love, happiness and joy. Santa flicked his hand, and the group of friends regained their strength. Even their wounds were gone. Though Krampus had grown beyond any of them in size as a response to the hate and lack of love, its powers seemed beyond any rival.
Now it's time for you to be gone for good,
Santa said. The beast charged at Santa, and a monumental battle ensued. Each movement they took shook the very foundations of the mountains.
Is this all you got?
Santa neatly put, though clearly struggling. We have to help him, Lily said. The group shared looks and pitched in with their artifacts. With a final combined effort, they defeated Krampus. He cried out that last roar, echoing into the dark beyond, and vanished in a cloud of smoke. His hold on the frozen peaks dissipated, as the tumult of Krampus's defeat subsided into a hushed stillness. The group stood, fatigued yet victorious. The once ominous cavern now basked in a newfound aura of hope and serenity. Santa, his eyes twinkling with gratitude, acknowledged their heroism.
You've done far more than save me. You've reignited the true essence of Christmas. Hope, unity, and unflinching bravery.
Santa's gaze warmly swept over each of them.
Nathalie, your steadfastness was the anchor of this journey. William, your insightful intuition navigated through uncertainties. Lily, your valor was a guiding light. Sam, your enduring spirit and humor uplifted us all. And Morgana, your lore and wisdom illuminated our path.
As he spoke, a gentle glow enveloped the cavern, transforming its icy walls into a golden haven of warmth.
A celebration awaits, and Christmas Eve shall not tarry. Ho 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 ho!
Santa proclaimed, his voice resonating with joy. With a magical swirl, they were whisked back to the heart of Jollyville. The townsfolk, whose festive spirits had been dampened by Santa's absence, now greeted them with renewed cheer and open arms, their merriment rekindled by his return. Illuminated by a resplendent Christmas tree, the town square became the stage for a night of unparalleled festivity. Music and laughter filled the streets as the group, enveloped by friends and family, basked in a sense of profound unity and achievement. As the night deepened under a starlit sky, Santa approached them, his presence as heartwarming as ever.
Tonight, we don't just celebrate Christmas, but the courage and heart you've all shown,
he announced, gifting each of them a small, intricately wrapped present. He reminded them,
the spirit of Christmas lies not in what we receive, but in the courage to give.
With these parting words, Santa aboard his sleigh soared into the night sky, his joyful ho 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 echoing through the air, leaving a trail of hope and wonder in its wake. As they watched Santa's sleigh disappear into the starlit night, the group stood united, hearts warmed by the spirit of their adventure. They had not only saved Christmas, but also forged a bond that transcended time and seasons. A story where a group of friends stood as heroes against the darkness. Amidst the twinkling stars, a faint, mischievous glint hinted at the unseen presence of another, the Yuletide trickster, subtly entwining his story with theirs, making it a truly merry holiday.